final um, presentation for Unit 16, and this is basically the last of the chapters that we've covered throughout our GRC 112 Grammar and Vocabulary course. As always, we're going to be looking at Unit 16 here, making excuses, and the goal here is to be able to do these two things here, give reasons and discuss statements, which we'll look at in a second. But these slides here are just to help you understand what's going on in the book. You can always get in touch with me on Blackboard in our classroom, on WhatsApp, and also at the college. So let's begin. Well, what we're looking at here is a few things. The first thing is we need to be able to discuss some of the statements others have made. So basically, you're going to be looking at what someone has said, and then you'll be able to discuss these statements. And then we'll be able to practice giving reasons for these things as this part of the second goal. And the third goal will be to be able to discuss and use reported speech. So it's pretty standard, pretty straightforward what you need to be able to do when we go through the unit here. So let's look at some of the items again when we talk about excuses. So if you look at this here, what can you see? There's something here. What is this? You got the full battery, and then something's happening, and then kaput, the battery's dead. It's taken off. What I'm trying to say here is when I look at this, I'm thinking about an excuse someone is making. So it could be someone saying, I have to go, and the reason is because my battery is dying. So you can see the battery's lifespan slowly fading away here, right? Another thing is this one here. Look at this. It says Islamic calendar. So this is our Hijri calendar. It's also got 2018 there. So it's also a Gregorian calendar. But the name for this thing is clearly a calendar. So what kind of excuse do you think someone will make about the calendar? Let's have a look and see. Oh, I forgot to check my calendar. So maybe you have an appointment with someone and you make an excuse by saying that you couldn't come or you forgot because you didn't check your calendar. Alright, so look at this one. And what's this? Looks like a tram or a metro. And what's he trying to do? He's trying to catch it. Maybe he's missing it. Maybe he's missed it. I don't know. But what excuse would he give? He would say, oh, sorry I'm late. I missed the train. So these are clearly some of the things or excuses people make, right? And we call them common excuses. Udhr, I think is what you call it in Arabic. So you make an excuse because you missed something or something's going to happen, and you give a reason why you need to you can't do that particular thing. So the idea is to think about this when we look at some of the language in the book. Like look at this funny cat, for example. My cat is sick. I had to put the thermometer in. I had to cool it off. It's got a very high temperature. Or this could be you saying, your puppy's telling you, go ahead, tell them. They'll never believe I ate your homework. So this is the dog eating the homework, and some people make an excuse when you ask, "Where's your homework?" And they say, "The dog ate it," right? Now, which one of these excuses are good, do you think? Which one of the excuses are poor? And what excuse do you usually use for these situations? And what excuse can you make for missing a date or a party, for example? And look at the excuses here. So you have to read them. Good excuse, poor excuses. Which ones are good? Which ones are bad? For example, when you don't do your homework, you could make this excuse. You could share this or tell someone this excuse. If you arrive late to class, these are some of the excuses you could give. Or if you miss work, arrive late, or even arrive late for a date or something like that, you could make these different excuses. So go ahead and read them. These are all in the snapshot, and then you could answer your questions yourself. You can answer whether the excuses are good or they're bad when you read them. So make sure you have your dictionary next to you in case there's some difficult words. For example, my back tire was flat because a dog bit it. This is the excuse, really. So respect this now. Now look at this. What we're going to do here is to be able to make some requests and match them to who's making the request. So here, for example, she said to arrive on time for the meeting. So there's a meeting here, and the woman is reminding everyone to arrive on time because there could be a meeting. So this could be, I don't know, a boss or somebody like this, right? It feels like a boss. So let's go ahead and and join and say this is the boss. So that's that one there. So we're done with this one. She asked me to pick up some food on the way. Okay, so who could this be? Who could be asking you to pick up some food on the way? Could it be your teacher, your doctor, your neighbor, your coach? You know, let's say it's your roommate, for example, right? Someone you share a room with, and you know, it doesn't have to be a she, could be he. He asked me to pick up some food on the way, right? He said not to miss practice again. So now practice is something going on here. It could be my coach, right? So the coach is saying, don't miss practice, and you have to forgive my pen. It will always be like this, I suppose. She told me to hand in my homework before Friday, and we're talking about homework. So since you made an excuse and said that the dog ate your homework, she said hand it before Friday. She said to drink at least 6 glasses of water a day. And so who could be telling you this? I believe this could be someone like your doctor, for example. He could be saying, you know, drink some more water. He asked me to tell mom about his new girlfriend. So number 6, he says not to tell, so I shouldn't tell. So this could be my brother, for example. He could be the one sharing this information with me. And then finally he told me not to leave my bike in the apartment hallway. So this could be my neighbor, right? And these are words that I want you to be able to remember as we move along with the lesson. So this is E. Um, so for example, he asked me not to leave my bike on the hallway. Drink 6 glasses of water. So the doctor is the one telling you this, right? And your neighbor could be telling you to move your bike along the way. And we can see how, for example, if you look at the example here where there's if you remember, we just mentioned this earlier. So drink 6 glasses of water a day. So who could be the one telling you this? It could be, yep, you guessed it, it could be your doctor. So your doctor is telling you to drink, and you know, if you look at the perspective, we already said she said to drink at least 6 glasses of water a day, and this is my doctor telling me this. So if she's telling me to do this, there's a way of reporting this. So what I want to do now is to put you in a situation where you've been to the doctor and the doctor has spoken with you. So you go home and your mother, your sister, your friend, your brother, whatever, is asking you, what did she say? And this is what you could say, right? She said to drink 8 cups of water every day. Now what you have to notice is the blue pen and the blue ink and the red ink here when I'm using them. So uh, I'm saying she said. Why am I saying she? Because the doctor is a woman. And look, I'm using the infinitive, to drink 8 cups of water. So basically everything here is from the same speech that she made. Oh, wait a minute. That's right. She told me to drink 8 cups of water. Why am I doing this? It's because I'm reporting what the doctor said. So in the report that I'm making, this is what she began. She began with words like this: drink 8 cups of water every day. You know, it could be another verb, so this could be a verb, right? So she's saying I should do this, right? And let's look at another example. Maybe this will make it clearer. And again, we're looking at reported speech requests. So look, come to class on time. Before that, we were looking at drink. Now we're saying come to class on time. So this is a request. I'm asking you to do something. And so if the teacher is the one making this request, and your friend said, what did she say? What did she tell you? And you say, she said to come to class on time. Or if you look at this, I say she told me to come to class on time. So I could say she said, but if I use tell in the past, it becomes told. She told me to come to class on time. And who would be saying this? Of course, it's the teacher. Let's have a look at one more example. Remember the neighbor? What happened with the neighbor? I believe he said, you know, don't leave your bike in the hallway, because some funny bunny decides to put his bike right there. You see that? So you come out of the lift and then you, oh, there's a bike. Somebody put their bicycle there. So the neighbor will say, you know, don't leave your bike there in the hallway. Don't leave it there. Then your friend or your neighbor, your parents, will be asking you, what did he say? He said not to leave my bike in the hallway. So look at what happens here. There's your there and my there. And there are a few things happening here. He told me, okay, because it's my bicycle. So he's the one talking to me. And what I want you to do is to focus on last one here, where it's a question. Can you pick up some bake? You know, we all love a bake on the way home. And she asked me to pick up some bake on the way home. Ignore this. completely. This is me. So let me just, he asked me to pick up, remove that leaf there, some bake on the way. There's my bake. And look, I don't use anything else apart from this. She asked me because, look at this, she says, can you pick up some bake? So I say, she asked me to pick up some bake on the way home. I'm just repeating one more time. Everything that the person says, I repeat it again. The only thing that I change, because I'm reporting what the person has said in the request, is those little details here, like she asked me, or drink more water. So she told me to drink more water. Don't leave your bike. He told me not to leave my bike, and things like that. You can always rewind the video and watch it. But the point is, when you look at your books also, you can see what I've just gone through. So these are the original requests, and these are the reported requests. Arrive on time for the meeting. She said to arrive on time for the meeting, or she told me to arrive on time for the meeting. So here, somebody is talking to me, and then my friend is asking me, what did the person say? And I'm telling them. So don't leave your bike in the apartment hallway. So he said not to leave my bike in the hallway. He told me not to leave my bike in the hallway. And the last one is what we did with Al Bake. Can you pick up some food on the way? She asked me to pick up some food. And you can see, basically, someone is telling you to do something, and you're reporting what that person is saying. Let's have a look at some more examples of this. Now, this is a student and his friends. So we got, let's call him Victor. And Victor here is going to be organizing a party. So what he wants to do is to speak with his friends over here and tell them what to do. So he's going to say something, and then what we're going to do is report what he told them. So we'll be asking, what did he say, basically, along the way, right? So let's look at some of his requests and wonder, and ask ourselves, what were those requests? So as I said, Victor is organizing a surprise party for his teacher. Let's look at what he told his classmates. We're going to use the word say, tell, or ask. So remember, say becomes said, tell becomes told, ask becomes asked. Right? So meet at my apartment at 7. So this is Victor. He told them. So if you remember, Victor was the one who was talking to his friends. Okay, so he told them to meet at his apartment. So you see that this becomes his apartment, not anybody else's apartment, right? So meet at my apartment becomes meet at his apartment. Don't arrive late. So what did he say? He told them not to arrive late. And look at the third one. Look at the number 3. Can you bring some ice cream? This is the question he's asking them in the third question here. So he asked them to bring some ice cream. So again, who's them? The friend, right? His classmates. Can you help me make the sandwiches? He asked them to help him make the sandwiches. So again, him is Victor here, right? And basically, alright, so he asked them to help him make the sandwiches. Can you bring a small gift for her? Let's do another one here. He asked them to bring a small gift for her. So you see, some of the statements here are changing, and what you need to do is focus on this question, And when I use the question, I say he asked. Don't arrive late. He told them not to arrive late. So there's always a to, or two, or two, and then the verb, which is in red. If it's negative, I use not. And if you got that, then that's pretty good. You can finish the rest of those questions, by the way, yourselves. What I want you to notice is there's a website here which you can always go to help you practice how to understand your subject and object pronouns. I'm going to share the link with you guys in the video. So if you look at the subject pronouns here, if I'm speaking with you and then you're telling your friend what did he say, then you'll be looking at these object pronouns. So for example, he asked me to open the door. He told me to open the door. You see, now if it's a he I'm speaking with, so I told Khalid to open the door, and somebody's asking you, what did he say? You say he asked him to open the door. So I go from the subject pronoun to the object pronoun. Okay, now when you have things like can you open my door, or can you open my car, this is when it gets tricky. So my becomes his, and so on. But we will have a look at this later on, and I'll share another link with you guys also on Blackboard so you can practice this. But the point is, let's look at some of these possessive adjectives I've just mentioned here with my and his, so you can see what I mean. Okay, so this is Jack. Now Jack is a guy, is a male, it's a name for a man, and I want to say something. This is Jack, and now I want to say something about his mother. is so kind. Okay, so what do? I say, well, I'm starting with number 5. I have got 2 sisters. Their names are Julie and Mary. So I've got 2 sisters. Their names are Julie and Mary. So let's go down to the bottom. Why am I using their here? Because I don't want to use they. I don't want to use them. I'm using their because this is the possessive adjectives which we use. So, for example, you say my car, his car, her car, its car, our car, your car, and their car. So there's a noun here. This is like what you do with the um, Mawsuf Sifa sort of phrases, where you have some kind of a noun in Arabic that uses this, So when you say sayyarati and so on, this is what it means here. So here we're looking at the possessives, the things that you own, mulkiya basically. All right, so let's look at number 4 now. I like their family. They are so cool. Now look, Donald and Mike are teachers. Students are smart. So I want to talk about the students of Donald and Mike. So I'm going to say their students are smart. Okay, let's go to number 3. This is Anne. Her dad is really funny. Okay, and this is Jack. There we go. His mother is so kind. So the point is, and by the way, his and her, there should be all in capitals. All right, so there should be his in number 1, and there should be her in number 2. Okay, not the small h. Right, so we have the uppercase h, we have the lowercase h. Right, so remember that when you are writing it down. But the point is, when I talk about his mother, it's different from when I say her dad or their students, you know what I mean, or their names and so on. So that's when you use the possessive adjectives. Why am I talking about this? Well, you're going to see this and you're going to practice with this more as we move along. So it's something to think about from GRC 111 when you move this forward. Now here we have Eric, and Eric is working at an office, and this is like his first day, I think. And there are a lot of people asking him to do things. So they're making requests, and you're going to use ask, tell, and say to practice this also. So let's have a look at what they're telling him. So we've got this is from your workbook, page 91, exercise 1, and you have these exercises to do from 1 to 10. Okay, so you have these exercises to do from 1 to 10, which you need to be able to change the requests. Okay, so you need to report that request. So, for example, Mark is a guy, Julie is a woman, Andrew is a guy, Tanya is a girl, Carla is a girl, Alan is a guy, Bruce is a guy, Cindy is a girl, Jack is a guy, and Robin is also a guy. Now, why am I telling you this? Is because you need to be able to know. See that? His phone, what we just talked about, with their names, his mother, her names, remember that? So this is where the possessive comes in. And here in number 2, for example, I'm starting with number 3. Andrew, could you check this flash drive for virus? So there's Andrew speaking. So Andrew asked Eric to check a flash drive for viruses, right? Let's have a look at another one. Julie asked Eric to do an internet search for her. So here we're looking at, can you do an internet search for me? So for me becomes for her. Okay, and this is the change that you need to be thinking about when you're doing this exercise. It's very, very simple. Get some practice and you'll be able to understand what to do straight away. So basically we have number 4. Eric, put this information on a spreadsheet. So Tanya told Eric to put some information on a spreadsheet. Let's have a look at the rest now, where you need to do this yourselves. So you need to finish the exercises basically, and keep just practice and see what happens when you're writing them. Watch the video again, and then you should be able to see what I've done also. And it's good to make mistakes and to think about what's going on here, and then once you've tried it yourself and realize, wow, this is quite easy, we should be able to check it together ourselves and see whether you got it right or wrong. Now next then is the word power. Now here we have a lot of things going on. We have the verbs here, which we will use with some of the nouns here. Okay, so these are the nouns, and for example you have an apology, a complaint, let me use my laser, an excuse, an explanation, an idea, an invitation, a joke, a lie, an offer, a reason, a request, a solution, a story, a suggestion, the truth. And you have the verbs make, give, tell, accept, and refuse. So you want to match these with these. So which verb goes with which noun? So these kinds of words that go together are like a family, and it's very good to be able to know how they go together, you see, because then you'll be able to understand them when you look at them. And there's a very nice exercise to help you practice this in a minute. But first, let's see if we can match some of these words here, the verbs, with some of the nouns. You can pause the video now, try it yourself, and then come back and check the answers. And basically, what I'm going to do is click on this and the next one. You see, so these are the sets that join with the verbs. So as I said, you clicked and you paused the video, and now you're checking your answer and you're happy. And if it's wrong, it's okay. You can always check the dictionary to make sure you understand the meaning of these words. But as I said, what you're doing is you're sort of like joining or connecting some of these words here with the verb. So you see, for example, I could say make a request, make a complaint, make an excuse, make a suggestion, but it's very hard to say make the truth, for example, you see, or make a lie. So some of them they only go with each other. But look, I can say accept an idea, accept maybe an offer or a suggestion, but then refuse an idea or refuse a suggestion. So what do you do when someone tells a lie, for example? What do you do when someone uh, tells you a story? Do you believe the story? Do you think all stories are true or false? What about when someone asks you to come for walima? There's a wedding, and they ask you, they invite you, and they say, would you like to come for the party? Would you refuse the invitation, or would you accept the invitation? Okay, so think about those answers as you look at the verb and noun I've just talked about. So this is how you can practice that exercise again. So we have express, give, make, offer, tell. So you have to choose the verb that goes with some of these words. So here we have, you offer congratulations, a complaint, and we have concern, an excuse, a lot of jokes. So there are some words that you can use here, but what you need to remember is this might all be in the past also. So you have to change their form and make sure that they're all in the past. You can tell because Jennifer told me she was graduating, so I offered her my congratulations. I complained to the police because our neighbor's party was too noisy, again in the past. I couldn't go to the meeting, that's clearly in the past, right? Jake, an excuse for being late for work. He said there had been a traffic jam on the highway. So this is a very interesting sentence also. He said there had been a traffic jam on the highway. This number 4, I'm going to come back to this later on. Number 5, Laurie was very funny at the class party, as usual. A lot of jokes. So if you try this, pause the video now, try it, and then I will share the answers with you afterwards. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. So I made a complaint. I couldn't go to the meeting, so I expressed my concerns in an email. Jake gave an excuse, and express my concerns means what? I told him what I was thinking about because I couldn't go to the meeting, right? So I shared my own ideas in the email, right? Okay, so Jake gave an excuse for being late, and you give an excuse, you make an excuse, and by the way, you could do the last one there yourselves. Now, do you remember these 4 guys? We have Grant, Sayo, Diego, and Kerry. And why am I mentioning this is because I want to connect them to this second part of the grammar here. So we have direct statements and reported statements. And look, I am going out with my parents to visit my granny. Granny here means my grandmother. So he said he was going out with his parents to visit his granny. So here what I'm doing is I'm changing the verb I am, so this am here is my verb, to he said he was. So this is what makes it the past, okay? When I change am to was. The reason why I do this is because when someone says something and you want to report what they said, because they've already said it, it's going to be reported in the past, right? So you do this when you say قال رسول الله قال يقول, you know, this is what you're saying. He said, because he's already said it, and you're reporting what he said, right? So here we have these verbs, for example, be becomes was or were. So you know, if I am, then it becomes was, right? Like we have here. So this is what I use to report it. Have, go becomes had and went, and this is what I report when I talk about something in the present. In the past, if someone says, you know, I made some cakes, then when you report it, you say he said he had made some cakes. So anything in the past, you just put had and then the verb. Okay, and so we're talking about full verbs here. For example, I have planned becomes, you know, he had planned, because that the have becomes had, and you keep this. But then the brackets show you that you can change the verb if you want to, right, to something else. So this is my present perfect when I report it. And with modals like can and will and may, they become could, would, and might. So here's an example with Carrie. Carrie is saying that, you know, there's a party and, you know, she's been asked to come. These are some of the excuses she's making. So she says, I'm not feeling well. And look, she said that she wasn't feeling well. So when you ask, what did she say? This is what you will be saying. She said that she wasn't feeling well. So I am not, this verb am becomes was, right? And it's negative, so I wasn't feeling well. She wasn't feeling well. And what about Grant? He says, I have to visit my sister. So when I report it, because I know Grant, where's Grant? There's a picture of Grant. Grant is a guy. So I say, he said he had to visit his sister. Now, Sayo and Diego and Carrie, remember, this is how I know whether it's a he or a she, right? So Diego now, where's Diego? There's Diego. I have planned an exciting trip to Jeddah season. So he can't go to the party because he's planned an exciting trip to Jeddah season. When I ask you, what did he say? This is what you report. He said he had planned. So why do I use had here? Is because the have here changes to had, and you keep everything else. So he had planned an exciting trip to Jeddah season. Sayo now. What about Sayo? We will be out of town. So Sayo is speaking. So she said, this is what I begin with, and she uses we here, which I've underlined here. So she said they would be out of town. Okay, so my will becomes would, as you can see here, right? So highlight this with my yellow, becomes green. Okay, so she said they would be out of town. And Khalid here, again, he, we may have too many exams next week, so I'm using Khalid instead of Kerry. I'm saying I want to change it so you can see how Khalid becomes he, and then we becomes they. So we may have too many exams next week. This is what Khalid is saying, because he's worried about the exams. So, you know, next week I can't go to the party. So why is that? Because we may have too many exams next week. So he has to study, right? Now, he said they might have too many exams next week. So this is how he talks about the modal here. All right, now let's see if we can practice. Here, what I've done is I've looked at the direct statements, which I've taken from the verbs here, and then reported them using the same verb. So what you're seeing here is how I use the reported statements using the verbs, and then I use Grant, Sayo, Diego, and Kerry to highlight how the he and the she changes when you are saying what he said or what she said. Okay, and what you have to remember is sometimes you can also say tell. So she told me, or she said, and then there's also that. You can add that. It's an option. You can use it too also. So I'm not feeling well. She said that she wasn't feeling well. She said she wasn't feeling well. You see, that's how you could say that. I have house guests for the weekend. She said she had house guests for the weekend. So you see, she said is what I'm using here, right? Or it could be they told me that, they told me that, they told me that. So for example here, we can't come tomorrow. They told me that they couldn't come tomorrow. We will be out of town. They told me they would be out of town. We may go out with friends. They said they might go out with friends. So when I begin with we, that becomes they when I report it. If I begin with I in the direct statement, then I need to know whether it's a he or a she speaking, so I can change that. And then if it's things like she said she's going to clean her house, then when she's speaking, she will say I have to clean my house. So my house becomes her house when I know who's speaking, right? And we'll see that in practice when we look at this. So let's do a few of these examples here. Now, Isabel is having a party at her house. Now look at the excuses that people are making because they don't want to come, so they're telling her some of the things that they will be doing to keep them, which is keeping them busy, so they can't come to the party. Now, what you have to do is change these statements to reported speech. Okay, so for example, Mason here says, I already have plans for Saturday, because he's talking to Isabel, right? So he told her. Olivia, she told her. Ben and Ava, she told her. Philippa, she told. Teyon, she says. Osvaldo, I guess he says. Lisa and Henry, they said. Omar, he said. So you see, you need to look at the name to know whether it's a he or a she, and then you change that accordingly. So you can just put names like Ali or Aisha or Khalid or Hannah or whatever, and you can then practice using those names. But let's look at number one, for example, and see how I can change that to Mason's excuse. So he says, I already have plans for Saturday. Now, what did he say? Mason said that he already had plans for Saturday night, or Mason told her he already had plans for Saturday night. So who is her? It's Isabella. Isabella is having a party and she's asking all these people to come, but they're not coming. They're all making excuses, right? Let's look at Olivia now. Look, Olivia said that her in-laws were coming over for dinner that night, because she says, what? My in-laws are coming over for dinner. So what do? We change it to what? Her in-laws, because I'm reporting what she said, right? Did I do another one? Yes, I did. Ben and Ava, we've been invited to a graduation party on Saturday. So Ben and Ava said they, now look, have here changes to what? Had. So they had been invited to a graduation party on Saturday. I don't know if I did another one. Yes, I did. So Felipe, I promised to help my sister with her homework. So Felipe told her that she had promised to help her sister with her homework. So help her sister, her sister, and her homework. So this doesn't change because she's helping out. And that was the last one I did. You can do the rest yourselves. Now look at exercise 5, which is again the same thing. We're going to be practicing that reported speech using the time. So you have to change, for example, have becomes had, and so on. So it's not the same as what we did with the request. With the request, if you remember, it's like this: come on time. So what did he say? He said to come on time. You see, so I have to say he said to come on time. Now what we're doing is we're reporting the whole thing. You know what I mean? So we're saying he told me something else, and let's have a look and see. So here we have the teacher who's having a party, and he's asking everyone to come, but they're all making excuses. So Tim says, what? I'm getting my hair cut. So it begins with what? I am doing something, right? It doesn't begin with come or sit or don't or something like this, right? It begins with I, and then I'm doing something. So Tim said he was getting his haircut. So this am becomes was. So he was getting his haircut. Look at Teresa. My sister is having a baby shower. So Teresa is a she. She said her sister is becomes was having a baby shower. Look at Bill. I may have some house guests on Saturday. So he said he might have some house guests on Saturday. And so let's see if yes, I did. And I'll do another one. And I'll do another one. Oops, I went straight to exercise B. So here you have to change these excuses into reported speech using tell. So Abby is saying, what? I signed up for a scuba diving class. So Abby told her she had signed up for a scuba diving class. So this is connected to the teacher, by the way. You can tell the teacher is a she. So Paul and James will be moving to our new apartment that day. So Paul and James told her they will be moving to their new apartment that day. So you can see a difference in what they're doing, because here they told her is what I'm using. Here I'm using said. Here I'm using tell. Okay, did I answer that? If I did, it would be for number 3, and then here you can write whatever you want. Let's see what I did. Yep, I didn't, so you have to do this to yourselves. So number 4 and 5 in exercise A, and number 3 and number 4 in exercise B, and in C, write whatever you want. Write your own excuses. You have a party tomorrow. What is your excuse for not coming? I know some of you want to come, so you might not need to make excuses, but imagine you're not coming. What excuse would you give? Alright, so